So here I am on Goree Island. It's a really beautiful day for the winter. It's nice and fresh today. Goree Island, it's said that it was one of the most important places for the transport of humans during the enslavement period. However, a few humans passed through this area, but it was more of an administrative area. In the 1960s, the island became a very important tourist spot for people who were thinking about the transport and exploitation of human beings. So they started coming to this island. And this island is very, very rich with art, music. It's a very small little island. So here I am. I just want to take you on a little bit of a tour. This is Khalil over here, and he is actually the person who really helped me to turn things around and to really change my life. Taught me a great lesson when the first time that I came here to Senegal, and I'll tell you more about what that lesson was and what that lesson continues to be. Oh, by the way, that cannon behind me is a very famous cannon, and just as I passed it, I forgot the name of the movie. There's an American movie that this cannon was used for. So after the filming of the movie, they left the cannon there. So lots of people go there and take pictures on the cannon. Also, I think there's someone who lives in there, an artist. So anyway, this is Goree Island. You can see some different little things behind me. I think there are some people down at the bottom of the hill. You probably can see. I just really love the vibrant colors that the island brings and all the beauty that we see around. Lots of artists, lots of people selling things. And so, yeah. So if you come here, you definitely want to make a stop here. And the thing that I really loved about Khalil was that he makes his art from little scraps around the island. So the first time that I came to the island, I wanted to just really think about, well, I'll tell you about it later. Okay? Okay, everyone, I'm in what they call the slave house. They tell a story that this is the last slave house that was built in the end of the enslavement period. It's interesting to come here. This is one of the first places that I visited when I came to Senegal. I think it was about 2002. In 2002, they told the story of how in the trading of human beings, they would divide families because they did not want anyone to speak the same language. A common language is power. So they might send the father to Jamestown, the mother to Nantes in France, the papa to Cuba. They spread out people so that there would not be that commonality. In this little house, they tell the story of when babies were small, they would feed them fat so that they would be fattened up for the journey across the Middle Passage. This is a place that's very important. Pope John Paul II visited here, as well as Nelson Mandela, President Clinton, Bush, and Obama. So it's become a very important place in thinking about the history of the enslavement of human beings. Every time that I visit Senegal, I always come to this place just as a place to reflect and to think. The first time that I came here was at a time in my life when I was growing a lot, and I wanted to, make some big advances in my life because things just really were not working for me. And so I had seen this man on CNN. He came here, an African-American reporter, and when he came here, he just broke down and cried, had this really cathartic experience. And so I wanted to have a big cathartic experience like that. However, when I came here, I didn't feel that. This one, I think, says the room for the babies. It's a tiny, tiny little room, and that is a little window you can see there. That was a little bit of air for the human beings. So I didn't have that cathartic experience when I came here, and so when I left the little house after the tour and the history, I went to the top of the island. You can see little rooms here. When I went to the top of the island, I met an artist, and that is Khalil. I have a little video. I saw Khalil again today. I've known Khalil for about 20 years at least, and in knowing Khalil, when I met him that first time after leaving this little house, and I didn't feel anything, which for me was disappointing because there were people who would touch the walls and it would be as if they were feeling the spirits of the people who were in these rooms, and they would break down and cry, as did the reporter from CNN. He broke down and cried, and I really wanted to have that feeling for myself. So when I left this house and I went to the top of the island and I saw Khalil, and he had these little pieces of art that he made. He made art from scraps, from little pieces of things. And so when he was explaining his art, I thought, well, that would be a cool way for me to bring some of Goree Island back to Los Angeles. But as I was thinking that, something just went off in my head, and it said, you think your life is broken. Your job right now is to put all those little pieces together and to make your life a work of art. And it was really transformative for me. It was the transformational feeling that I was looking for. And so from that point, I began to have a different experience with life. Life breaks us sometimes, and so how do we put those pieces back together? How do we make our lives a work of art? And I think that's why we're here. Life is beautiful, but sometimes it's hard. Life is a whole multitude of feelings and emotions. How do we stay present with all those, and how do we make something beautiful? It would be pretty bland if all the flowers in the garden were one color, right? So life is filled with lots of different colors. So how do we, realize those colors and to make a really wonderful bouquet? So walking past here is you can see behind me is the door of no return. It's pretty crowded, so I'm not going to go there right now. But the door of no return, when you're here, they tell the story of the door of no return, how once the enslaved human beings left Africa, they were never to see Africa again. And so we know that the enslaved humans were taken all over the world. I've studied these places around the world. I've studied the castles in Ghana, and I've been here to Goree Island, as I said, probably 20 times. It's just a place where I just like to come and to just really reflect and to think about the brokenness of life, and living in a world built on racial capitalism. How do we find our power in the middle of all that? How do we find who we really are? How do we piece all those pieces together and find our personhood, our humanhood? And it's not to say that only black people have suffered from the institutions of enslavement and racial capitalism. When one of us does not live our best life because of greed or oppression, none of us can live our best lives. So none of us can live our best lives. So we are all victims of this, and we have to all find our way out of it. We have to all find our power. We have to all find our joy, our peace, and all the beautiful benefits of life. And oftentimes, well, I think the only time we can do that is when we really face the reality and the truth. And so this place is really special to me. I hope you can visit it sometime in your life, or I hope you have many moments where you get to just reflect and to grow. So anyway, here I am. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you soon somewhere. Bye. Monsieur, bonjour, ça va? C'est vrai, c'est moi. Ça fait longtemps?
Ça fait beaucoup longtemps, trop
Oui,
longtemps.
oui, peut-être 4 ou 5 ans.
5 ans, oui, bien sûr.
Oui, peut-être, oui. Ça va?
Oui, je sais bien.
Tu es dans le même endroit?
Endroit tout
Oui, 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 oui. Ça va?
Oui, je suis
Oui,
bien.
oui, oui.
Ben,
Oh là là!
oui.
Oui, 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 oui.
Depuis quand tu es
Ici, au
au
Sénégal?
Sénégal, hein?
Oui, peut-être 6 jours.
À
7
6
jours.
jours,
Oui, 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 oui. Je suis allé voyager partout. J'ai voyagé.
quelque part.
Oui, 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 oui,
Quelque part
oui.
au Sénégal.
Et maintenant, je reste à Dakar pour 2 jours plus.
Ah, c'est bon.
Oui, oui, oui,
Bravo.
oui, 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 oui. Je le cherchais. Je t'ai cherché.
Ok, je suis là toujours.
Oui,
C'est
oui,
bien.
oui, 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 oui.
Comment?
Vous êtes, tu es en forme?
Ouais, alhamdulillah, on est en forme.
Alhamdulillah.
On est en forme.
Oui, oui, oui,
Vraiment,
oui, oui.
vraiment.
Et
Oui.
tu as toujours l'art
Voilà.
et les autres
Et
choses.
les autres choses, bien sûr, oui.
Oui, oui,
Bien
oui,
sûr.
oui, oui.
Mais
Ça va, la famille?
moi, tout le monde est bien parce qu'hier là, j'ai découvert ma famille hier là.
Oui, oui.
Maman et tout le monde est bien.
Il habite où?
Au village, un peu loin, au village.
Ah oui,
Bawal.
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 Ok,
Oui.
d'accord. Et la famille, toi,
Ouais, bien, tout
ça
le monde est,
marche.
tout le
Oui.
monde, alhamdulillah, tout le monde est bien, vraiment.
Ah bon,
Oui.
bon, bon, bon. Very happy to see you. It's been
Very,
a very, very long time. It's been
long time, man.
5 years maybe.
Yeah, really. That's too.
Yeah, it's too long.
Happy to see you.
Yes.